There's a phrase in writing called killing your darlings.
Right.
And this is similar to that space. So the idea of killing your darlings is you might have written something that's really amazing. You have this idea that's really amazing, but it just doesn't work in this moment or in this piece. And it can be really hard for people to let go of that. It might be pulling people too much on a tangent, or it's just not relevant, or it doesn't work. And people hold on. In psychology, we might call that the endowment effect. Anything that you've created or that is associated with you just has so much more value than it does for somebody else. And that can be really challenging. There's also the alternative, which is, well, there, so take that idea and then just think like you have some of those that you might want to be holding on to, but you don't know where it goes right now. Don't force it to go in somewhere right now. Just know you've got a backup reserve. You've got, like a mise en place. You have a couple other cups
Right.
of spices and ingredients, and you're not going to use all of them in every single dish, but they're there. And as you taste it, as you read what you've written, your drafts, as you read through your whole manuscript, you might get inspired and realize, oh, this like other little bowl of spice that I have that I haven't used yet actually would fit in really well here.
Hmm.
So you don't have to force some idea in. If it doesn't seem like it's coming naturally, you can hold on to it. And maybe later on, as you see the whole flow, as you see the whole entree come together, you might realize, oh, we could use another little splash here and fit in some of those darlings that you didn't force in the first place. I also just try to, like, two other things that I'll say, which is we need to set like realistic goals. If your goal is to write a book and that's the level at which you maintain your goal, write this book by June 13th, 2025, that is so hard. That is so hard to have that be the goal because there's so much that has to happen. You need to unpack that goal. You need to
Yeah.
say, like, what's my goal by June 31st, by July 31st? And then have an accountability system, like somebody that you report to that might have a similar goal as you, or who's just happy to like help keep you on track. And like an accountant would for your financial situation, sort of do that postmortem on your goal progress and see like, okay, you set this goal. How much did you get done? Where are you at? Do we still seem like we're on track to meet the bigger goal?
Right.
And having somebody else just physically present in those conversations is going to do more for you. That even if you're totally self-disciplined, I feel like I'm highly self-disciplined. I love writing and I don't have the time. And that's the problem. So having somebody else help me with that, help me with those conversations. It's like, I don't need someone to push on me, but I do need somebody to make sure that I do it, that I get the job done and that I have to report to. And that's useful. And even if
Right.
you don't have that other person, something that I write about in the book is that one of the other issues was just that I had this chronic nagging sense of anxiety of like, I have a contract, baby, I have a job. I have 40 people that work in my research lab that I'm responsible for that are reporting to me that I train, and I got to write this book and I'm not doing anything. And also in the book, I apply all of those tactics that I talk about and suggest other people try. I apply them to myself to learn to become a drummer while I have a baby. I have an infant. We live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's a stupid goal, but I wanted that. I wanted something about me that wasn't just about changing dirty, gross diapers. When friends would come over, oh, what's new? How are you? How is it? How is everything? It's like, I have nothing interesting to say. I am no longer an interesting person. So I decided I needed to become a rock drummer when it was a dumb goal, but like it was important for me. It was,
Sure.
yeah. But I also had to become a drummer because I'm writing about that in the book. And I couldn't be like, oh, try these 12 tactics. They didn't work. I couldn't accomplish my goal. Like that couldn't be the end of this story, right? I had to
Right.
figure this out. Plus, I had booked a show for myself to hold myself accountable publicly. I had to play. I had to be able to play.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I'm not writing this book. I'm not learning how to play drums. I'm going to throw up about all of this. This was awful. This confluence of events at this time of my life is just terrible. But what I did was a tactic that I learned from a collaboration that I came upon called the Dear Data Project. Asterisk, look that up. It's really cool. But when I talked to these two people who had this amazing collaboration, one of the things that they said that they used to sort of keep track of this data that was in their project was called the Reporter app. There's lots of apps like this out here, but it was an app I put on my phone that would randomly ping me, in my case, like 5 or 6 times, 5 times a day or something like that, and ask, did you write or did you practice drums? And if the answer was yes, it would ask me more questions. How did you feel? Because I told it to ask me this stuff, to just like check in, to be my accountability partner. And I
Right.
just felt like, God, this thing like is so annoying. I mean, I told it to be annoying, but it's so annoying. I keep saying like, no, I didn't. Okay. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I haven't practiced. I
Yeah.
haven't written. Okay. And then, but occasionally I would have said, yes, I must have, because at the end of the month, I downloaded all the data from the app. I like data. I looked at it on my computer and I saw trajectories that I couldn't feel in the moment. So I actually had
Huh.
practiced what was a reasonable amount. I practiced on some weekends, 5 days out of the week, the work week, I didn't practice at all. But like, oh, okay, I practice once or twice each weekend. Like, well, that actually is reasonable. But for 5 of the 7 days, I just felt anxiety about it, and that's what dominated. And I felt like I'm not getting any better
Yes.
at the drums, and I'm not getting any writing done. But when I looked at my own reactions in the moment, they were increasing. I had gone from like literally crying. I was crying. I wrote to myself, I was crying. This was awful. I'm terrible. To like, oh,
Right.
actually, somebody gave me a compliment. This isn't so bad within the span of a month. But our memories get in the way of us being accurate accountants of our own progress. Because what was leading for me was like 5 out of the 7 days that I wasn't doing anything, or those moments when I was crying about the stupid goal that I decided to put on myself. Those are the things that stick in our memory, are the extremes. And so it can make it hard for us to assess like what our actual progress is when there are moments that get more weight than they should. And so things like that helps me get a better sense of how am I actually doing? What is my actual rate of progress? And then use that information, like your point earlier about like, let's get back to reality. It helps me realize the reality of my progress and then make better decisions about whether I was on track and what I needed to do to hit the actual goals. And I did hit the goals, and I did learn to play one song on the drums, and I got the book done because you're here talking about it.